Welcome, everyone, to the first Zero Sugar podcast. My name is Ray, and I'm joined by my co hosts, Ben, Logan, Lincoln, and Daniel. We'd like to personally thank you for stopping by and giving this a listen, whether you're here for the whole thing or just 3 minutes. As this is the first podcast, this calls for introductions. So, all of you feel free to mute yourselves. Unmute yourselves.
All right, I'll go first. My name is Lincoln. I sound like this. Get used to it. You'll be hearing from me a lot, considering I have a lot of free time. Logan, what about you?
Hi, I'm Logan. I indeed sound like this. But you might end up knowing me as Diet Coke because that's my gamer tag. Maybe we can play a game sometime.
Hi, this is Ben. This is what I sound like. It's my terrible voice, or at least that's what I think. I do not like my own voice. So yeah.
Hey, this is Daniel. It's me. Get used to it.
You just copied Lincoln.
Wow, big brain.
Big brain moves.
Originality is hard to come by. Alright, now besides introductions, I think we should probably go over how we all met each other.
I mean, yeah, that's
Sure.
that's a pretty that's a reasonable place to start. I think
Mm-hmm.
Ben, I met you back in preschool, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember back then, so you know.
Okay, anyway.
I met most of you, like in third grade, I believe.
Yeah.
We all went to the same elementary school.
I didn't. I was the
And
cool
middle.
kid. I went to the bad kids school, and then I moved to the arts infused magnet school, and I met everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Logan. Me and you didn't like had this kind of like unspoken. Not we didn't necessarily like each other. I'm gonna put it that way. And I think
I don't remember.
a lot of it stemmed from this girl that I liked at the time liked
Ooh.
you, and
Dang.
she rejected me because she wanted to be with you, even though it never ended up happening.
Because I was the new person. I was like, because it was like no, it was elementary school technically, and it was like I've been with these people for like my entire schooling life. Look, there's a new person. I want to go hang out with the new person.
Yeah,
We were too old for them.
too old.
But I think that's a little weird, buddy. We were all the same age, weren't we?
I mean, like, she had known us longer, so we were old to her.
Oh, that's what you meant. I was like, we're all the same age. I'm so confused.
Okay, so I met Daniel in 5th grade because there's a huge group of kids who would play infected by that one tree.
You have to
It wasn't-
explain.
Oh,
what,
yeah,
you
I
have to,
remember that
what
tree.
you have to explain what infected is. You know.
Oh,
Who
okay.
does
So
this
it's like tag. It's like tag, except the person who starts, and then when they tag someone, they still have it, but that other person has it too. So there's two people, and the game ends when there's only one person left or no one left or whatever.
I remember
I
infected.
love that
That's
game.
still
just
love that
like-
game.
And this was in 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, for me it was like a train or a domino effect. First, I met Ray about 4th grade uh, when we started to become friends. Then I became friends with Lincoln and Ben, and then in like 6th grade, I was introduced to Logan, the legend over here. That and also
Excuse me.
James and the Giant Peach.
Oh my god, I remember that. I still kind of hate that musical to this day.
The only person who really can say they hate it is Caleb, who's saying Plum and Juicy.
He will never ever live that down.
Nope.
Nope, he will never live that down.
There are still sometimes
Oh,
when
right.
kids bring it up. I find it absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he does not, though. He seems to hate
I mean, I don't blame him.
it.
I mean, imagine being remembered not because of your acting skills, not because of how you dressed, not because of the kind of person you were, because you sang a song called "Plump and Juicy."
Okay, Mr. Money got money on that.
To a
This is-
bunch,
I will
to
take that to
a
the grave.
bunch of mine.
I'm the greatest rapper. NMM is afraid to diss.
Eminem.
You've clearly never met iDubbbz. Oh god.
Is that a dead meme? Like, can we even bring up iDubbbz in a good light anymore after what happened?
Yes, it's a dead meme.
Well, I mean, so we all know that his girlfriend, I believe, at the time, correct me if I'm wrong.
At the
on
time, they're
that,
still
but-
dating. What do you mean?
Okay, no, like I didn't know if they were fiance or husband. I don't know. I don't
Oh,
watch
okay.
iDubbbz, but they. So she opened an OnlyFans, and we all know
Oh
the
no.
culture of that.
Yeah, we all know how that
Well-
one went down. Yeah.
Well, the big
You'll get
So-
rich on thing.
Does he really like deserve? I know it's kind of predated, but like I still think of it to this day. Like he really like to be called a simp. It's more like to do something like shower someone with affections and like materialistic objects. I know
No,
that sounds shabby, but
I
like,
never understood the simp point of view because I remember the big problem everyone had with him. It was that like, oh, you're letting a bunch of other men look at your girlfriend.
Hmm.
But then they
And I
call him
was like-
that. I mean, like that's not really. That was just like at the time it was like a meme. It was like one of those
Well-
1 minute memes.
So okay,
But-
one part of the simp stereotype is that the simp will never get the girl. It'll always
Yeah.
just be like, "Oh, thank you, bro." It's never like, yeah, it's
Simp Simulator 2020.
I think
Quarantine edition.
I think the idea of simping is largely skewed from what it actually is. You know, the idea of simping is
I can agree with that.
the idea of simping is simply put doing
I would say it's just kind of like,
doing something whether it's materialistic or affection in hopes of obtaining something rather sexual. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
it's kind of like sucking up.
It's like saying up to a teacher for good grades.
Yeah, but not good grades.
except her love. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, largely the demographic of iDubbbz,
Of like him being above everyone else, like with his content cops here. It's like he got hiccup.
Rice gum content. bro.
he's been like above everyone. Like not. It's such a
Well,
terrible word.
I wouldn't even say he portrayed himself as
Like,
above
untouchable.
everyone else because he just dealt with such terrible people.
Mhm.
like-
He kind of seemed untouchable, you know. Like you really can't mess with him. Kind of like
You can't mess with the guy that's messing with everyone else.
yeah.
Well, he was like messing with people like Rice Gum and Tanamongu. Like everyone's above them. Like I don't.
I think
I think the
generally
big
when
thing
there's an opportunity for people to hate, they're gonna hate. You know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just the way of the internet.
Mm.
My
It's
God,
just,
that wasn't even on topic. We should actually move on to the
Oh,
yeah, we
yeah.
just.
thing.
I don't even know how we got.
I was like, oh wait.
I was thinking about that. Like we just like branched off from what we were originally supposed to
Oh
be
wait,
talking about.
we did
We
branch
had,
off
like-
into-
It's our podcast. We can talk whatever we want.
I mean, yeah.
Spilt water all over me.
That's great about talking like about a podcast. Honestly, you just branch into other stuff, and that's what brings you such great content.
Yeah, because what I did,
Well, I
I
mean,
just like
well,
saw
we're-
like
we're
the
doing-
topics.
I think we're doing it right.
Or-
How we're doing it. I think the idea is to branch off. You know, but
Yeah.
there
I
was
like how we
something-
planned out.
there
Or
was-
return back from our original topic and branch like another way off of it. You know.
Well, no, but there is something we
Taking
wanted to
another-
talk about, which was the
There
story
were
of,
two different things. Yeah.
of Bridger Walker. Now, were you guys familiar with Bridger Walker?
Very.
I've only heard what Lincoln has talked about it in the group chat.
Okay, so
Oh.
I can hear my parents groaning about it because I talk about it too much.
so Lincoln, I'm sure it's your place to talk about it, so go for it.
All right. So the stories from different news sources are a little bit mixed. The main story of it was this 6-year-old boy named Bridger was playing with his little sister, who was 4 years old, and a German Shepherd, I believe, lunged at the sister And without thinking, Bridger jumped in front of her and yelled at her to run, while uh, the dog latched onto Bridger's cheek and wouldn't let go. And eventually, Bridger got free and grabbed his sister and ran. Uh, and he needed 90 stitches on his face, took a 2-hour surgery to get everything done. And I think he will make a full recovery. I believe that is what's been said. He does not look in pain. He seems perfectly fine. I cannot imagine being in that situation. And he is getting all the praise for it he deserves.
I mean, yeah, he handed it to
Um,
the
one more.
absolute champ.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really
Something I've
glad.
mentioned before was that he didn't cry at all until like therapy, I believe.
I thought you said
So,
Ivy.
What's
yeah,
crazy
sorry,
about this is
I'm right.
German Shepherds are typically like known to be very trusted dogs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like surprising to hear that. Usually it's like a pit bull or anything like that, but the German Shepherd is pretty unexpected.
When everything was all said and done, he was quoted to saying, "If someone had to die, I thought it should be me." And that's just crazy to me that a 6-year-old was thinking about if it comes down to her or me, it's gonna be me.
I mean, to grasp
See,
that concept, even at like it's one thing to say you grasp the
Mhm.
concept, but it's another thing to be in a position where it's moment to moment and still have that thought, you know?
Mhm.
yeah, like that's just straight up going against like conservation of your species, like your own well-being.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like
I think
he's getting all the praise he deserves. I think like it was who made him an Avenger? It was
Chris
Chris
Hemsworth, I thought
Hemsworth.
was him.
Chris Hemsworth, and then Chris Evans is sending him a authentic Captain America shield, and then who knows what Robert Downey Jr. is doing, but Tom Holland called him and invited him to the set of
He's
Spider-Man 3.
Robert Downey Jr. is doing something for his birthday. He hasn't told him what he's gonna do, but
Yeah.
it's really supposed to be a surprise.
I'm so glad we cleared up the lunging, like the dog lunging at the younger sister, because like if you didn't and they just like pointed out that that dog was bad, I was gonna take the villain stance here and say that they never should have been there in the first place. Like he should have
Yeah.
taken the
As
more
I said, it's kind of
optimal.
a mixed story.
Well, okay, my thing was if the dog never lunged, then you should have taken the best option of both of you attempting to run away.
Hmm.
But it said the sister and brother were at a friend's house, right? Or
Yeah.
something?
I need to clear everything. I'll make it final one day. I need to search a bunch of different sources
I mean, like you
to
have to remember,
find
like
the fully correct.
this is like a 6-year-old and
A
a
4-year-old.
4-year-old. Like they're not as tall as you and I, and German shepherds run very fast.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we're also talking like backyard. They're not having to run
that
distance.
far.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but they have to get
even then
inside.
they'd be trapped. Like they'd have to open the door. In the process of opening the door, you know.
Hmm.
But even at that point, then you can turn around and like attempt to face it. But ignoring the option to run away seems to be dancing
Um,
between the line of
I think
bravery and stupidity.
the dog was so close that it wasn't an option for both of them to run. It was an option for one of them and the other to get attacked. And
Yeah,
that's why
and
he
I mean
took
he was
the blow.
6-year-old, very quick thinking in that type of situation. So
Yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah,
like the idea
you
of
know,
jumping.
full props to him though. It's very.
Oh yeah, I'm not trying to take away from him at all. I'm just saying that
They
I'm glad
probably.
we.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, no, go ahead. Logan, my bad.
Oh okay, I was just gonna say I don't want to like take away from what he said. I'm just glad that the story is starting to get more light so that we can find out more and more about like
Hmm.
what exactly happened. So
And also, in the story, it said that even the friend said that, from what I've seen, is that the friend said, one's a good dog because there were two dogs in this situation, and then the other one was a mean dog. So if that child who, if they're probably friends in that age group, probably younger, that means the parents had to tell them their child that it's a mean dog. But like, why was that dog out with people if they know it was me. Like unless there hasn't been that like something so bad
I mean, who
as
would have known that it would have lunged at the child? You know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, why are you calling it a bad dog? Like, what
Yeah.
clarifies that? Is it like,
I-
is it not house trained? Has it peed in the house, or has it had a tendency to like attack a parent?
I believe it has, just from assumption, I assume it's tried to attack someone before from how quick the owner wanted to put it down after attacking a child.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that stance. The whole idea of putting
I've-
animals down.
Yeah, I found a lot of comments on one of people's posts on Instagram about Bridger Walker saying, "I side with the dog. Why were they fighting the dog? Why were they provoking the dog?" And as far as I know, no one knows for sure what happened with the dog, if they provoked it or if it just lunged at them for no reason.
You know, to be
Um,
honest, I would have never taken that whole idea that if even like being around it is provoking it.
mhm.
but also German shepherds are pretty protective.
Yeah,
And so, like, they're children. They probably were playing around with each other, probably getting a little, like, rough fight, like, fighting kind of play fight. And then the
Mhm.
German Shepherd probably saw that and attacked them.
Possibly, that
Maybe.
is a very common idea, even for domestic dogs, to protect its owner.
Also,
I don't
like,
know.
on the top, like, with dogs, like, most dogs, like, if there's anything like this, most times, like, you know the stereotype with pit bulls and how if like
Yes.
they're like stereotypically like
Can
don't
I
agree
say?
with the stereotype.
Okay,
Personally. Go ahead.
okay. I was gonna say that that stereotype normally comes from the fact that they are more muscular dogs. That between them, Rottweilers, uh, I believe, Great Danes, I would also assume, are more common like fighting dogs, so that they are seen as more violent in the public eye because they're like, these are the dogs that fight. So they're less more like violent and they're just more dangerous.
Yeah, you're right. No, public perception, I think, plays a huge part in um, how we,
Anything.
yeah, in anything in general. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, like Logan was saying, that it's good that it's coming to light, and the more that the situation comes to light, the more I'm sure the opinions won't be as black and white as they are now, but an overwhelming majority of people, as I think everybody, um, should commend Walker for his
Yeah.
bravery.
Even if it comes out that at one point they were provoking the dog, the fact that he still like stepped in to save his younger sister is just brave.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think we've exhausted that topic for now. So, did you guys hear about the whole blue whale challenge thing? Like, the
I haven't.
misconceptions that are
Yes.
going with it, and just
I've
this cloud of absolutely insaneness. So, a brief.
Before we
No,
You're
start
is
gonna-
that
here,
the app?
So
Nah,
the blue whale challenge is pretty much like over the course of like 50 days or something like that. Um,
yeah,
they
just
give
over a
you tasks, and every day the tasks get progressively worse. It could be listen to relaxing music on day 1, and then day 50 usually um, ends in saying to like kill yourself. And the way they grab leverage over children is by using very general information, whether
yeah,
it's your
I will leak your search history,
yeah, or
something
like
like that, or like,
threats like we'll kill your family, or
mhm.
just crazy things like that. And the sad part is like
so
this is not the first time the blue whale challenge has surfaced.
Yeah.
It's
I
surfaced.
heard about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So the blue whale challenge surfaced once in 2017, and I think there was a time before that when it emerged, and that was the whole mix-up between Momo and the blue whale challenge.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, because after hearing Lincoln talk about it in the group chat, I decided to do a little bit of research on YouTube to maybe find like some news like stations that were covering it, because obviously it was a big issue, and I found most videos were almost 2 years old.
Yeah, so it's old. To add something onto it, so, you know Sky Jackson?
Yeah, Sky Jackson.
Oh my god, are we gonna
Yeah,
talk about
So,
this?
The
yeah,
doxer. Of course we know Sky Jackson.
yeah, no, hang on, guys. My point is, she doxed the kid. Do you think that what she did could have led anything to this about someone like remembering this challenge? Because they're a little bit similar. Because I guess you're kind of threatening them by doxing them or threatening to dox them.
Well, there are people that are always going to try to troll other people. You know what I mean? I don't think Sky
Mhm.
Jackson's actions led to it, like directly led to the resurface of the Blue Whale Challenge.
Okay.
But speaking on the whole, Sky Jackson, do you think she should get her account banned?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Did
Yeah, should get doxed the
she
person.
doxed a 12-year-old who's in middle school,
Yeah,
and
it'd be
for a
one
white
thing if
girl
it
to
was an
say the
adult
N-word,
that she doxed, but it wasn't.
It's
a
not even okay
12-year-old
if you
most
do an
definitely.
adult.
Yeah, exactly. And a 12-year-old is gonna say the N-word in middle school. Like,
I don't know what Sky Jackson. I've not
okay,
even
okay, okay. Can I explain?
Yeah, go.
Can we finish the Blue Whale Challenge first, or do you want to keep going with this?
We'll return back to it.
Yeah.
full circle it.
Okay, so Sky Jackson, I mean, it's pretty simple. She would just find anything in your DMs or anything if you said anything racist at all. If it was a video from 5 years ago, and then she could use her fans, and all of her fans would go and find the information, or she would just find it herself, and then she would just leak it to everyone. I mean,
Yeah, that
basically
includes like families' names, your home address, your full name, where
Like-
you went to school.
How is this any better than like swatting people?
It
It's
isn't. It's
not.
so. The reason why she should be banned off of Twitter is because she directly violated the TOS. Because doxing is
Mhm.
against TOS.
Isn't
The-
doxing like
illegal.
partially illegal?
It is partially illegal.
It's fully illegal. It's not partially. It's fully illegal. It's literally illegal.
Yeah, as well as swatting. Swatting's also illegal. It's a crime.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's putting people's lives directly in danger.
That and it's a false
Right.
police report.
So
Yeah,
there
and
was-
she ruined kids' lives.
Yeah, there was
by
this
doing this
one
because all
second.
her fans.
There was this
were
1
just-
second clip of a white male college student. I'm not saying what he did was right, but with a 1 second clip, he lost his, I think, scholarship from a university. If not a scholarship, he definitely got kicked out of college.
Do you know what was in that 1 second clip?
Him saying the N-word.
Just him like being racist. Oh, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, and then there was like a pair of this kid's parents got laid off of work because of what their child said.
What?
Yeah.
What? That doesn't make sense.
This white kid, he goes, what? This 8-year-old white kid probably heard it from his parents. He goes, why do Black Lives Matter and not White Lives Matter? And he got doxxed.
And the thing is, like,
That
this
does-
presents
no one
all
deserves
sorts
to
of
die.
problems because it's so easy to fake DMs, like incredibly
Yeah.
easy to fake DMs.
Mhm.
That's what I'm on is, and her fans probably just edit them just because they don't like somebody, and their lives are ruined. And it's
And like, okay, so of course I'm not gonna say names. I'm not that kind of person. But the amount of people, black and white, that have said the N-word is not even funny. And to think that someone's career and their parents' careers were destroyed because of it, it's hard to think about.
Way to leak the school name. Good job.
You don't have to blur it out
Dude.
now.
Whatever,
We have
dude.
to edit it and blur it out. Can I just say that like I don't understand the power behind the N-word. Like I get the history, don't get me wrong. It's not a right word, but I don't get what gives it the status in comparison to other slurs.
It's because of the way that it's been used to belittle other people. The same way that the
Yeah.
the homophobic slur, the F word, you know.
But
Mhm.
people use that all the time.
Correct, and
Yeah.
it's still seen like it's becoming more of a thing now, or that now, um, that it's becoming an offensive word. You know.
But I mean, even at this point, it's not even on the same status as the N word. Like, people still get away with saying that all the time.
Well, yeah, you're right. And people get away with saying the N word, but because of the how far it goes back into history and the way people used it, its connotation is very much worse. If you know what I mean.
I mean, yes, I understand that, like, slavery's a big deal. It happened for a very long time, specifically with African Americans. But, like, having more history than someone else does not inherently make anything more offensive. Everything can be offensive, and if it's offensive, you shouldn't
Right.
use it.
But if the public
Mhm.
deems it more, if the public deems it more offensive, then it is more offensive.
I mean, yes, I understand that public ideas will, of course, affect this. I just think that, like, on a moral standpoint, completely morally, not like what the public thinks, not what anyone else thinks, that these are all bad and that none of them should be used.
You're
Either
right.
none
None
of
of
them
them
are
should be
used or
used.
all of them are used.
None of them should be used, and henceforth the reason why we banned them from even being typed in chat or anything like that. Like, as standards change, because standards are never going to be the same as they were even 10 years ago. As they're constantly evolving and changing, we learn that things aren't as acceptable, and it took a long
Mhm.
time for the N word to become very much unacceptable to a majority of people. And I think with the homophobic slur, it's going to become exactly like that in time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
back
think.
back in, like uh go ahead.
Oh, no, no, go ahead.
Okay. So back in like early 2010s and like the 2000s, people could say the N word like all they wanted. Like
Mhm.
white people, it wouldn't even be offensive. No one even cared because like online, it was back then when it wasn't a big deal. So I mean that's all I really have to say though. Just
Yeah.
so Logan, you can go ahead.
Um, I was just gonna say that, like, the whole idea. I like the idea that things have evolved over time, and I I think with humanity and, like, society as itself evolving, that it may have took the N word like 100 years or almost 200 years to become, like, considered offensive. That the homophobic slur may only take like 15, and that, like, it's almost exponential, although that's not really exponential. That eventually we will learn what is right and what is wrong faster over time, and I think that's something that's, like, really good to think about, that we're growing towards.
Hmm.
Yeah. And to answer your question, I do not believe it is a slur. I believe it can be used as a slur,
Okay.
but I don't think the word itself is a slur.
Okay, I was making sure before I said it, because I've heard, like, people of that group refer to themselves as that, but I didn't know if that was, like, the whole, like, only we can say it, you can't sort of situation.
Yeah,
No,
no,
my
I don't think queer is inherently um,
Offensive.
offensive, but I think the way that people use it to belittle other people, that's when it becomes offensive.
I don't know. I like using queer over gay simply because I feel like queer has its own base versus when you say gay, everyone's like, "Oh, happy, huh?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely.
Also, I think that word, like, growth over time has most definitely gained traction in the last, like, year or so.
now I have so like back going to the N word. This I know that this like say I don't want to say it because it could still be considered offensive technically, but
Mhm.
saying the c word the saying Ritz, but not Ritz to a
Mhm.
white person. Now I know it's not gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's not what I thought you meant.
That's not what I thought he meant either. But no, cracker is because
Either way.
I feel like no. like, even though people are like, "Oh, you're being racist by calling people like a cracker," I don't think anybody gets offended when they're called a cracker.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
Like,
exactly. It
cracker
doesn't
doesn't
offend
have
us
a
all. Yeah, it doesn't have a history like the N-word. The N-word had to do with slaves and stuff, and when a white plantation owner would call their slave the N-word, it's like has a huge history. Meanwhile, cracker was just like a I don't know what to call it, like a something
it's
for
like
white people since they didn't really have one, like that type of thing.
yeah, like I said, it doesn't have much as of a significance to the word. It sounds so bad to say.
can I
It doesn't
propose a
have
question really quick?
Yeah, go for
yeah,
it.
go ahead.
Do you think it takes away from like the power and the offensiveness of the N-word if people keep handing out N-word passes?
I do not personally think it does, because at some point, what is a joke? And we all have a very good understanding that the N word is a bad word. Even the people that use the N word
Yes.
know that it's bad. So when you hand out N word passes, I don't think there's ever been a case where people hand out the N word pass, people end up saying the N word pass, and then people get in trouble. I think it's always been the fact that people are handing out N word passes that people are getting in trouble, you know?
Yeah. I was just thinking on the whole idea that like this is a serious word. You can't be making jokes about it. Like here's a pass to say it for all you white people.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, but there was something that I did find.
Oh, is this about the kids selling them?
Yeah, there was
Oh
like
yeah, he had a ton of
the
money off of it.
the Willy Wonka, not the most recent one. A kid, um, the sister of the kid that was selling the passes, said he might have earned $1,000 from it.
Oh, he
Yeah,
sold
that's
them? I
that's the
thought he was
thing I
just
saw.
handing them out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a black
he
kid
was selling
selling
them.
out. Yeah, oh yeah, he's selling them for who knows amount of money, but his sister said yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna backpedal back to the whole blue whale challenge. We were gonna
Hmm.
discuss some of the myths and a lot of the
Misconception.
misconceptions that are surrounding the whole thing. So a huge part of the scareness factor, I guess you could say, is that people are saying you can get hacked from just simply clicking on the profiles and DMing, which is one of the biggest misconceptions there is out there that you see so many people spreading, because there's only two ways for people to get your information in that type of way. It's clicking on a catfish link, or it's called digital fingerprinting. And even with digital fingerprinting, you only get things like the
Pop.
router that you're connected, not router that you're connected to, but the graphics card you're using, or the phone model. And then catfish websites are admittedly a little bit more dangerous, because they can tell they can share your general location, but it's never you're at your house. You know what I mean? And so you see a lot of these Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts, even YouTube videos that are perpetuating this idea that you're going to get hacked just simply by saying, please go away, you know? And it's,
I think for someone to like really get your location and information like that, they would have to be incredibly experienced, and something tells me they're not wasting their time on a 50-day game.
yeah, if you were a hacker that had enough experience to get someone's actual location, and you were doing the blue whale challenge instead of like trying to hack the government, then you're by far the worst hacker that's ever existed.
And even once you like get their location, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, like SWAT you, I guess. I don't like.
But if you swat them, then it just can be traced back because like police have that kind of power to pinpoint location based off of
Well,
IP and like ping stuff back.
you can anonymously make calls. That is a thing that can happen. But I think the
I
reality of it is that swatting in it of itself is not very effective. You have
Yeah.
to convince the police first, you know?
And once they get there, like they're like armed with deadly force, they break down the door in like classic SWAT fashion because that is what they technically do. But if you're not resisting, then you're not in trouble.
And also they're how they're in their academy, like how they're trained is to respond on how the call was made. So they like if they're told there's a man holding someone hostage, they're going in for like for a hostage situation,
Don't
like
they usually say
looking for
possible
someone
hostage
like
situation? I don't think, unless they know it's a
eh,
hostage, if there's a call made about a hostage, they say possible hostage.
but they're still like going in with that thought in mind to like of like the situation so they know what they're going into so they're not going in blind and they so like it's how they're told the situation is and because they have like multiple processes like you said they have if someone is getting swatted they have to make it seem believable or
Mhm.
like that's how so they have to like go through all these steps and after that then it sounds like some they know something actually is going on.
Yeah. What do you guys think of this
But
whole TikTok thing? Like, do you think it's gonna shut down?
the
Like, this is
Getting shut
very
down.
much off
I
topic,
don't
but
think it will get shut down.
I think it depends on who shuts it down next because something tells me America's not going to do it next.
Yeah.
Like
As much
Australia,
as a lot of people want it to, I don't think America can prove that it's spyware.
I just
like
don't
in
think 2000. It just really doesn't
I don't
seem
I don't
like it's
think
going to.
I don't think America
know.
actually cares if it's a national security problem or not. Because if it wasn't actual national,
It's
if it was national security problems, then you'd think they would have like banned Facebook. You know, I think it's
yeah.
more of the fact that America
People
is not the
people hate
stuff
it.
anymore. You know, they're not leading in technology. You know, China, Japan,
No.
yeah,
Korea, those are all your leaders now. And the reason why India banned TikTok was strictly for geopolitical. They were in a border dispute. I don't know if they're still in a border dispute, but America has uh, temporarily banned TikTok in the army, but whether or not they're actually going to put it
yeah,
into
I heard
effect for
about that
civilians.
because the possibility. I think on top of that, especially since it's Chinese, and I don't know if we ever talk about it that much, but you know how China sometimes just kind of claims countries as their own?
Hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they have like I think it's two countries, I can't tell you the names of it. That's like we broke away from China and China's like you're still mine and everyone's like you're still China when
Oh wait,
China's
no.
around,
Are
but
you
when
talking about?
China's not around they're like
I think you're talking about like the autonomous zones, like Hong Kong and like.
oh no, not Hong Kong. It's like its own country. Hold up, I have to look this up real quick because it's annoying me that I can't remember. But I feel like because China is like leading manufacturer and most like technology products, and on top of that, in a lot of software, it's like don't piss off China because China can really mess you up.
Yeah, and it's you have to admit that the things that TikTok has the ability to do in their TOS is incredibly scary. They can there's like key logging apparently and they can read your messages and they ping the server every like 30 seconds and the ability to exploit it is there's an exponential chance for someone to exploit the systems in place at TikTok. But I don't think there should be a ban on it until it's proven that someone's exploited it or that the Chinese government's exploiting it. Because for all we know, it could
Yeah,
just be terrible practice.
didn't this entire thing technically start because someone was like, I reverse engineered the app and found out that this thing is collecting a whole lot of data and doing a whole lot of extra things that most apps don't.
And it was an
Yeah.
anonymous redditor or it was uploaded to Reddit by an anonymous person.
But then people did actual checks on it, and it is correct. That is what's happening.
But that's
I
that
just
go ahead.
I don't know if like the whole idea of there being so much more is the idea that something's evolving, like for safeties for TikTok, because people post a lot of things, a lot of younger people are on that app. That the whole idea of like rerouting the server like every 30 or like minute is like safety thing. That's just an evolving thing that eventually maybe like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram will start doing, or if it's like something that you can genuinely consider suspicious.
So the influx of people leaving TikTok and moving to another platform called Byte. Have you guys heard of Byte?
I've not.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Is that the Vine platform?
So
Yeah,
Vine,
it's like it's
so Vine sold its rights to Twitter, and I think when they wanted to create a Vine 2.0, they had to they had to come up with a new name. And the influx of people leaving TikTok, like I personally deleted TikTok from my phone, but the influx of people moving from TikTok to Byte, I don't think their servers can handle it.
I
I downloaded Byte and I uninstalled it right after because it was all it looked kind of like unprepared, if you know what I mean.
Well, the question is how old is Byte? Because like that might not be unprepared. That just might be this is what the features we had at that time, so that's what we put in.
Well, I mean, they should be
'Cause-
updating it. So I mean, I don't see why there'd be a problem. It just didn't seem.
It's been released for about
Well, why would
6
you?
months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, that's interesting.
So I mean,
My question
It
is
could
why
just
not?
be-
Oh,
Go ahead.
why not stick with the Vine name? Like, isn't that kind of iconic? Why change the name?
because they
Well,
have
they
to sell
sold
their rights to
they
Twitter.
sold their rights to Twitter.
Oh.
So it could be because I have an Android, which app integration is way more like I don't know what you call it, not like
Difficult?
biased, like so like apps favor iPhone than iOS. Like on Android, the UI is much different, much worse. The camera quality on apps is much worse, but the actual camera quality of the Android is good. It's just they chose like the apps choose the camera that's like for iPhone. It's like I don't know how to explain it.
I think it's
So, I
because
mean, it could just be
Android
the fact
only
that I have
sends
an
through
Android.
SMS, and that's why when it gets compressed, it has a lower quality. That's why when you send us a photo on chat, I think it's much different now, but how it used to be is when you'd send a message, it would compress the photos a lot, and when they compressed it, the quality would decrease exponentially.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to share my opinion. I know it's like a not really a hot topic anymore. I mean, it's still a topic. We were
Hot
talking
topic.
about Sky Jackson and Black Lives Matter, so I want to talk about my opinion on the George Floyd thing. So first of all, what that cop did was beyond wrong. He deserves to lose his job. He deserves to go to jail and
Well,
all this.
wasn't the whole thing is that he like was a retired cop?
No, he was an active cop.
Wasn't-
So
Yeah,
I
he
could have
was.
sworn that I heard a couple things where they're like they sent someone out to get someone who lived nearby that was a retired chief of police.
No, what happened is like there was a call about a counterfeit bill being used, from what I remember, and it was George Floyd who used the counterfeit bill, and it escalated quite a bit, as you know, as we all know.
Isn't that normally a fine? Or is it jail time?
I think it's jail
it might
time.
be an arrestable offense. I'm not too sure, but
It's
chokeholds
not worth death.
chokeholds are like when someone uses like deadly force.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not something you
Mhm.
use in a
yeah.
altercation with.
But he wasn't using a chokehold. I didn't think he had his knee on the back of his neck.
knee on
Yeah,
his
there
neck,
was
and then the other
yeah.
cops were holding him
But
down.
I
that
think
that
it
is a
falls-
common tactic used to hold them down. But
Well,
like
so-
On the neck? No,
it's not.
not on the neck.
No, not
It's
on
not
neck.
It's on the
regulation.
back. No.
It's-
It's on the back, and then they're supposed to let go, and that's just to restrain them until they put on handcuffs. And it's supposed to be on the back, not on the neck. That cop, like Ben said, everything was wrong. Like not just like morally, but like everything else possibly. That and also the three other cops that were watching.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Okay, so I was gonna go
But
ahead.
didn't it also come to light that George Floyd was not so much of an angel as the
Yeah, that's what-
media
yeah,
made him
that-
out
I
to
mean,
be.
that doesn't
Mm,
matter.
well,
I mean, I
hey,
don't I don't
what I
think
was
that
gonna say
particularly
is
matters.
to make this
I'm
whole
not saying it does. I'm not saying it does, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
also it,
Well, okay,
it
no,
seems to
wait,
be a
can I-
common event in these
So
sort of things that
can I explain my opinion? So
yeah,
like,
yeah, go for it, go for it.
okay. So that's what I was gonna say is I just yes, everything with the situation was wrong. But I just don't like how people are acting like George Floyd is a good person. It's not that. That's not really like what the focus is on. I just don't like how people are like, oh, George Floyd did nothing wrong. And also, I don't really like the all cops are bad thing. It's like really not.
yeah, after like a few days after his death, this continued for a while, and it may still be going on. I haven't looked into it for a while, but a lot of people were just protesting the fact that there are no good cops, and
Which I
it made me
disagree.
wonder. Yeah, it made me wonder. So this whole thing right now is Black Lives Matter, and they definitely do. Everyone's lives matter, but if to think about it logically, if there are no good cops, what about the good African American cops? People
Yeah,
that are not white. Are they just grouped
yeah,
into horrible people?
exactly. Yeah, I
So
mean, according to
you gotta
them.
decide.
I
I
don't
think I
I
think
don't
the
understand.
idea is that I think systemically cops this is a really like polarizing topic, so I'd like to watch my words very closely here.
I don't blame you. The like thinking about what you're about to say here is incredibly important because this
Mhm.
is so controversial that a single
is.
slip up of a word can ruin like your entire reputation.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So to put it very for a long time in history, black people were oppressed, and there was systemically there were things put in place to hold them back. And
Mhm.
I think uh, because I'm not speaking from a place of fact from this point on, is when when there was this whole shift in everybody is equal. Not everybody was on the same page, and I think when
Yeah.
it came to police that were also they this is an undeniable fact that police were also racist back in Jim Crow and slavery. So I think there's this deeply rooted problem. Uh, I think there's this deeply rooted problem with the police force in general, and I think there needs to be reform. And yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say about it because I'm not as informed uh, as I used to be. So that's all I'm gonna say about
Yeah.
the police because that's all I'm gonna say about the police. That's all. I think that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
I can't talk a whole lot on this topic because I'm kind of ill-informed and I don't want to say anything that happens to be like wrong or something like that, and it just ends up being a whole like cluster mess up or
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I did want to say one thing. So like I know that's like controversial to say. I just want to say that like I don't agree with it. But there was this one thing that happened. This this okay, sorry. This woman was protesting Black Lives Matter, right? And her baby started choking and she went up to the cops and the cops saved the baby. It's
Mhm.
just it's funny because it's like
You have to remember, like,
you
police are just doing their job when it comes to like
yeah,
the
that's why I don't like
some not
that's why I don't like all cops are bad.
some police are definitely using excessive force. But when it comes down
Yeah.
to it,
yeah.
there are police that are having to watch protesters that don't want to watch protesters. You know?
Like these people, these police have a family. They are a person the same way as these protesters.
Yeah.
It's just the job they decided to do. It's I mean
You,
yeah, it's just
I think,
that's why I really do not like the all cops
One
are bad.
thing that is
I think all
undeniable.
cops are.
about this whole protest thing is that the police are using excessive force when it's not needed. And this goes.
Yeah.
No, but that also doesn't mean all cops are good either.
I'm not saying all cops are good.
But-
I'm not saying all cops are bad. I'm just saying that an overwhelming majority of the protests that are happening, there is use of excessive force on the police side. And I will not deny the fact that even sometimes it's not as often as the police use excessive force, but sometimes protesters do get violent. This goes like this whole thing in Portland. Have you heard about this thing in Portland?
No, you're gonna have to enlighten me on that one.
So, Portland's pretty much under siege by federal officers that are coming in unmarked vans with like unmarked badges, no badges, unmarked vans, and they're taking protesters off the street. Nobody knows where.
Well, that's
Watch it
wrong.
not be like police. Watch it just end up being like some random
Like
organization.
civilians?
Watch it be like no, I wouldn't even say like civilians. Like I'm not trying to say it's an inside job that they're like, oh, we're trying to flame the police. I'm saying like watch it be like a crime syndicate or something that's state in Portland.
I don't think it is because
I'm not saying I'm just saying like conspiracy theory. That would be like insane. That ends up being like using confusion as a cover up.
Yeah, and the scariest part is that I guarantee it's not going to end with Portland.
Oh no. But can we also talk about the riots that happened there for a good little while?
I mean, we can definitely talk about riots. But
I
you
mean,
have
my
to-
whole
you have to
idea is
remember
that
there are people out there that don't care what the message is. They just want to cause mayhem. And I think that's happening a lot with the protests, that there are people that are fronting the idea that they support the movement, and they're looting because of it, you know? But
yeah, I was gonna bring that up. That you have the idea that not all cops are bad, but there will be bad cops. So there are people out there that are using this Black Lives Matter situation to go out and do bad things and justify it under that movement.
And there are personal businesses that are just like family run that just get ruined because of it, and they like, it's the looting. They're just using that to, like just to loot.
I mean,
It's wrong.
yeah, livelihoods are being destroyed. That's a very problematic thing that's going on. Another thing I'd like to propose is that peaceful protests will only do so much. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah, you can
Well-
only get so far.
Like at some
Well-
point you have to raise hell.
Well, then again, you bring up some successful, like, you got Martin Luther King, you got not Gandhi.
Are you going Gandhi? Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say
I say Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
With Martin Luther King,
Oh, God.
you have to remember after he was shot, there were riots. There was looting.
But you also have to remember that Martin Luther King is like a one in a lifetime sort of person.
I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not saying there's going to be another Gandhi or another Martin Luther. I'm just saying that it's possible to do it, and like it's possible to do peaceful, successful protest.
Yeah.
But it is a whole lot easier and it's a whole lot better to get your point across with more serious protests, which is why even during the time of Martin Luther King, you had people like Malcolm X who had more violent protests.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I think a lot of people forget that in India, Gandhi, which was largely demonstrations and peaceful protests, things like the Salt March, but there was also much less peaceful things that were going on in India that also helped India break free from colonial rule.
I mean, remember, even Gandhi himself, instead of threatening other people's lives, threatened his own. It didn't come down to, I go out and just march peacefully, don't interrupt other people with violence, and I just go out and march. It came down to Gandhi saying, I will not eat food until my point comes across. I will kill myself unless my point comes across.
And that also inspired others to do hunger strikes to get the same point.
Yeah.
So
mean,
even if it's not other people's lives, a life still came into possible harm.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I have no idea where we were going with this. To be honest with you, where were we going with
I
this?
think the next thing we should go with is reform, because you brought it up with legal system needing like reform. I think a lot of systems need reform.
You're right. A lot of systems
We've
do need reform, but we're talking specifically about police reform. Um,
Okay, we can start on police reform and possibly move to legal reform because of the whole idea of peaceful protest not working.
well, I think police
Wait,
reform. I think police reform also includes regulations put in place for police.
Well, I was just talking about the idea that peaceful protest is a right that you have, but peaceful protest isn't working, so you have to have something else put in place. So
I've just been sitting here silently, doing
yeah,
nothing.
Lincoln,
Yeah,
you
I-
haven't said anything, man.
yeah, Lincoln,
I
you're going to
I
get
stopped
Do
talking.
we want to
I
move on to an entirely new topic, or do we want to continue on the?
I think we're having a great time on this one.
Lincoln.
Well,
Lincoln, you need to add points, or you're going to get about a B on this. What's it called?
oh, we're
What-
grading this.
and what
I
was
don't
it
know what
called?
points to
And
make
it's-
about it.
If he doesn't,
No,
if he
well-
okay, so it's important to remember that if you don't feel comfortable talking about a topic, um,
I
because
was
you're
making a joke.
ill informed, then you don't have to talk about it. So don't
Yeah.
drag on Lincoln too much.
No, I was making a joke about Miss things the Socratic seminars.
Again with the
I was
leak.
making
Holy
a joke.
crap!
What about it?
You just
What?
leaked the name.
Yeah, you just said
Ah.
another person's name.
You're fine. It's fine.
That's a pretty
it-
uncommon last name.
No, we
Wait,
did that.
Logan, text me his name. He said.
He said English teacher.
Oh, English teacher.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
That was the
Socratic.
second time you said
You-
it. Because he
you
said,
said
it a few
this-
minutes ago.
No,
You said this-
the school name.
No, I didn't say school name.
Yeah, you
I
did.
mean, like,
You said
yeah,
it.
No, that's not what I
say
meant.
that.
I guess the first step will be figuring out how are you going to reform the police department.
Yeah, I think there should. People were proposing that I thought was a great idea, like having psychological evaluations, and if there are racial
Tensions?
if there's a tendency to act out because of race, and I think that's a great idea because that helps eliminate a lot of the front running racists, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but how are you going to do the psychological evaluation?
I think well, you have to remember
Like,
a lot of these people share their ideas on social media because social media is
Oh, yeah, who doesn't?
a huge part of people's daily lives now. In terms of actual regulations, I think, and one that is being passed right now is the banning of chokeholds, and yeah, the banning of chokeholds, and amongst other things. I can't name the right off the hip, but chokeholds are definitely a thing that should not be allowed.
Yeah. I think on top of that, you also have to think about the fact that there is more dirty police than just racist.
Yeah, no, like I don't. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I don't know what reform would look like. I just know it needs to happen.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I don't know how they would go about that though.
because what are you gonna do? Like, I guess you can't like fix the racial issue unless you catch it early on. But with this situation, you couldn't fire that cop for racism until he had already killed a man. Let's suggest you find a reform. Okay, let's skip past the idea of making reform and suggest you get to the reform itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you now find the problems with police. You find out that someone is racist. What is the next step? How do you go about removing someone from their job for a bias?
Well, I think a huge part of it
What
is
laws are in
mitigating.
place?
I think a huge part is mitigating the risk of there being a racist cop. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah.
Like there's
So
gonna
do
be
you
slips no matter what, but
I mean, yeah, it's human. There's no way you
minimizing the
can
amount of
completely solve the problem.
minimizing the amount of risk is incredibly important.
Yeah. I was thinking about more finding cops that are already in the job, and I was like, how do you go about firing them without? Because I feel like a good lawyer could get you out of a situation like that.
Well, I mean, things like if there's racially motivated arrests, that should be grounds for losing your job.
Expulsion.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do you prove it's racially motivated?
I think you can look at a situation once you've gotten a lot of information or even a good chunk of information along with previous tendencies with the police because they should be filing everything they're doing. I think that's another thing that should happen.
Yeah.
I think that
I think it
police-
already should.
I
Or
think-
already does.
I don't know if they're
I don't know if police themselves hold on to it. I feel like someone has to hold on to it, though.
Yeah, you're probably right, but
Like, that should just seem common knowledge.
Yeah. But if there are grounds for a racially motivated thing, there should be people that can assess that. I don't know what assessment would look like. I think assessment would look like looking at previous tendencies and making an informed decision along with perhaps a psychological evaluation.
I don't know. I think I just keep getting this thought in the back of my mind that's like, what is to say that you, like, even as someone who is in higher position, like a chief or a captain or whatever in the world it's called, I don't know, the police ranks, is you to judge someone else's morals?
I don't. But is racism morals?
I mean, it is. It's not a good moral. I won't get you like don't confuse that there. I'm not saying being racist is good because it's your morals. I'm just saying like what is your position to say that this person is racist
Well, I think there's
because
a set of social rules in well, when I mean rules, I mean like unspoken things that are good and are bad, and it should be very clear whether someone is doing something out of race.
see that's where I think that's where the problem is if you make it very clear, then you are going to let so many slip by.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, when it's very clear, like you come to the conclusion and you're like 80%, like 75 or like 65%. That is the number that we have to be before we take this to like court. We go to expulsion. Then you're going to let so many that simply did not meet that number that are still racist that slip by, and you're going to let probably less, but still some that just really got screwed up and just got a lot of African American clients that they had to arrest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I'd have to sit at a round table for a while to figure out an actual answer to the problem, but I do think this is a good place to start to identify the problems, understand that things are going to be incredibly difficult to practically implement, but this is a good starting point.
I like where this is going. I think that trying to implement something like this with percentages means that you are going to let some slip by, and you are going either going to let some slip by, or you're going to screw over a bunch of innocent people.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree with you.
Which is why, I mean, I don't know. It's just such a weird toss-up of like, which one do you think is worse? Should we fire many people with the more likely chance that we get rid of more racists, but injure or remove people that aren't racist from their job, or fire less people and end up having more racists slip by, but saving more innocent people?
Mm-hmm.
It's the moral dilemma that once again is like, who are you to choose who should lose and who should win?
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And I do not have. I can only agree with you.
I don't have an answer to my own problem either. I feel like such a philosopher right now. I just made a problem up and don't have an answer.
Honestly, in my opinion, I would definitely go with the less, like firing less people, just like because it's really not fair if you fire an innocent person just because of someone else. I feel like you should spare them, and as time goes, you'll find other racist people. I guess it's
I
just I
guess
feel like it's more morally right.
But that's only
I guess
with the
yes.
concept of percentages. Who knows how we're gonna.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, who's saying that like percentages is the only mathematical thing we can use?
Yeah, 100%.
Conversations are very interesting to listen to.
Lincoln's just
Is this
listening
what-
to the podcast while
Yeah,
he
is
makes.
this what?
Yeah, big brain.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how
Shameless
hard it is
plug.
to start up a podcast? Can that be one of our topics?
It is
Oh my
kind of
gosh,
hard.
okay, let's-
Can we move away from racial stuff?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's fair. I think that was a very spotty topic, and the fact that not a whole lot of people were speaking was a intelligent thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and
Well, that's
Logan probably
people-
made some oopsies.
Oh, I absolutely
Yeah.
feel like I said some things, but
Yeah.
I think we
Well-
justified it by the fact that like we most definitely presented good things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where did we want to move on?
Where do we want to move on to?
What else is new? Oh, you guys
Anyone
want to talk about Will Smith?
Oh,
Oh,
poor
God.
Will Smith. The pain that
Dude,
you see in his
no.
eyes.
All right, you're gonna have to inform me because
gonna-
all I know of Will Smith is all that's hot.
Okay,
No,
so
no, okay, let me, okay. So
Alright, go ahead.
first of all, he's now known as Smith because he's lost the will. Okay, that's you need to go in with a set of mind of
Was
that.
that a joke?
No, so you know his wife,
Yeah.
how he's married.
Great.
I mean, correction. So
Uh,
she cheated on him, with a singer. I don't remember.
August
who
Augustine?
it- yeah.
Oh my God, Augustine! I feel like I've heard that
and-
before.
And I think it's rumored that she may have cheated and had intercourse.
Oh no,
with-
that's confirmed. What do you mean? That's
Oh.
confirmed. Okay, no,
No,
you're
no,
you're
no,
you're not
more than one.
you're not addressing it correctly. At
Okay, go ahead.
at some point in Will and Jada's relationship, they had a open relationship. They were not exclusive to one another.
All right, so okay.
But I think Will didn't know about Augustine and Jada.
But that technically violates what most people consider an open relationship.
Well, I mean, I think the idea of an open relationship is for you to be able to see other people, but you should at least inform your partner.
I think I'm not the person you should come to with this because like my informant on this is like a couple of friends that are in those kind of communities, like LGBTQ plus people that did history on Mormons because at one point that was something that Mormons did, a small sect of those. And
That
I've
was
heard
that was
just like
like FLDS and the Foundation. That was like polygamy.
yeah, I think the idea behind that was that you could date other people while technically dating someone else, but you had to inform your partners of that
I'm
It's
pretty
new
sure they
relationship.
like if
okay
you
with-
have an open relationship, just tell him.
You have to be okay with it as well.
Yeah, but
It's the idea that
Will looked like he was on the verge of crying. The pain in the
Well-
man's eyes.
I mean, you kind of you would feel that like he's getting cheated on someone in the system where he never thought he would get cheated on.
Because
Yeah.
it's difficult to cheat on someone when it's an open relationship.
How
Like,
do
it's
you-
one thing.
How do you like? What does August Augustine have to offer that Will Smith doesn't?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
Has
know. I
he-
don't.
Has August been turned into a blue giant genie? No.
Hey. Um, he sounds great. That is a voice of gold. Okay,
August Augustine or Will Smith?
Will Smith.
Can I just
Yeah.
say that I've heard a lot of criticisms about the Aladdin movie where they were really mad that they made Will Smith impersonate like the original genie when in the credits he did his own rendition of Friend Like Me, wasn't it?
Believe so.
And like just think about the potential where you could have the classic like rap Will Smith do the soundtrack in his own way and just like imagine what that would have sounded like.
I think a genie, reimagined genie would be absolutely fantastic. I think that would be a great thing.
And then you just get disappointed because they're like, that's not what they did. They tried to copy the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they tried to make it so that he wasn't too much like the genie. They want to avoid people criticizing them for trying to replace Robin Williams. I
I
probably
think-
got his name wrong. I'm tired.
It's Robin Williams? What?
It's Robin.
What
it's
is
Robin.
it?
It's
Okay,
Robin.
I was right.
Robin Williams.
Robin
Yeah,
Williams.
he-
Yeah.
Both me and Lincoln just blanked on his name there for a second.
Yeah, he it's kind of sad. He committed suicide.
I think that's like more common in
Because
a
not-
singer and
not-
actor position.
I mean,
He starred in a movie about suicide,
yeah.
which is
Which I think is really interesting because I think a lot of people forget about it. They're like, "Oh, these are my idols. These are like gods to me." And like not to offend anyone that's like religious, but like you have to remember that these are just people.
Yeah, imagine the immense amount of pressure that's put on them in those kind of situations.
Like, oh my goodness, did you guys watch the Hollywood Fix? I think his name is the dude that follows around everyone that lives in that hype house.
Oh yes, yes, him.
I've heard of him.
He's so.
Oh my
like,
god.
I don't know how to. You call the paparazzi on yourself. That's the craziest part. Like
The Hollywood Fix is like, how are you there? Like always. Like what?
he's posted up outside of like Granny's cafe, and someone from the hype house
With-
will just show up.
It was Addison. Oh, like okay. So you remember? I think it was Quiet's newest video.
You watched Quite too?
Yeah. Where he was talking about how like Addison Rae was, and the other dude, I don't remember his name. I'll be honest. I'm not into TikTok stars, and how they were just like bouncing back and forth between people taking pictures, and being completely calm while they were just trying to enjoy a nice evening. Like, imagine that just as a normal person. Like, every time you go out to dinner, you just gotta bounce back and forth between like 15 other people trying to take pictures when you're just trying to hang out with friends.
Okay, I want you to imagine this scene, okay? There's this dude holding a camera that has a microphone on it, and he's posted outside out of Granny's cafe, okay? And you see this 16-year-old pull up. This easily 25-year-old man walks over with the camera, points it, he's like, "Oh my god, dude, what do you think about this and that and this and that, you know?" Like, imagine from an outside perspective,
Sir,
like,
this is
what
the
is going
Wendy's.
on? Yeah.
I think the whole idea of like the life of fame and like the price of fame, I guess I just said the life of fame. I am tired. The price of fame is like so much bigger than so many people imagine.
Mhm.
I respect
And it's just
I respect Keanu Reeves. He keeps himself very private, you know, and he's very humble. Like he takes public transport. You'll see him around, but when it comes to his like home life, you don't know much about it.
I think that's most definitely respectable. And like I You know the whole controversy where they're talking about family channels and how, like, including your children that are below the age of 13, which is the required age to own a YouTube channel, if I'm not wrong. We're all 13 here, we're
Wait,
14.
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
are you
13.
asking what's the age to own a YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's 13, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's 13.
It is.
Okay.
No. That's for Twitch. YouTube, you can have one at like 8.
No.
I'll
Mm-mm.
look it up. We're gonna end this now. I'm looking it
Well,
up.
okay, whatever. I'll continue. You can come back to us. But, like, including children that are younger than that is, like, such a dangerous thing, and it just seems so unintelligent for a parent
13.
to do.
I feel really bad
It
for
is
like
13,
Ryan's
okay.
Toys
Oh,
review.
that's right.
Ever since Kappa, it's 13 or Kofo, however you
Kappa.
pronounce it.
Kappa.
Dude, toy review channels, they make so much more money than you think. It's crazy.
Yeah, they were like the highest.
Yeah, but
Ryan's Toy Review was like the highest paid YouTube channel in like 2018, if I remember correctly.
because you have
Yeah,
to think,
right.
it's so
They make
easy to
so
pump out
much money.
videos.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I
And
feel
they
I
get so many
feel
views.
I feel
Yeah.
bad for Ryan because when he grows
Ryan?
up, think about how many people are gonna like.
Oh,
bully
you're
him.
the toy review kid.
Yeah, him.
Like, you have just, you may make this kid feel great because you're like, oh, look at these, 5 million plus, or like, I don't know how much he had. I didn't watch his channel. These people all liked you as a person. They like your personality, and you're like self confidence just went through the roof. But at that point, you're like, wow, all these people are watching me. I no longer have like a life of my own. I'm just the toy review dude. Like, your self control just like plummeted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just crazy to think that people would put like their children on a website like that, especially with like the idea of internet safety.
Yeah. Do you think that they've done an unboxing on masks?
Probably not.
Mask unboxing.
What I come back to, I use the restroom and
Oh, you didn't even say you were going.
oh, I didn't think I had.
You didn't have to. It's
No,
It's
this is
probably
the
better when
Communist
you didn't.
Manifesto. We need to know where you are at all points.
We were sort of talking about like the toy review channels and
Yes,
stuff like that.
get your inputs in now because this is going to become a hot topic.
Hot topic. I don't even know where the topic is, but hot topic.
we're talking about
Well,
Ryan's toy review.
Oh dear lord.
Do you think it should become a standard for people? Because I know Dan TDM does this. I don't watch him like much anymore, but he blurs out his kid's face.
Wait, he has a
his kid in
child?
his videos.
Yes, he
Yeah,
had a child.
Hold up.
I didn't
When
even know he
did
was.
get a child?
I didn't even
Is
know
he
he was
Yeah.
seeing anyone.
I don't watch it either. I don't watch it either, but I heard about it and like I saw.
I
I
knew
think
he
I
was
think I saw. I
married.
think I saw the video. Yeah. He's been married for like a very long time.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't know he had
His
a
name is
child.
Asher.
Yeah,
How old is he?
I don't.
a few months
Excuse
maybe.
me.
Wow, this is like
No.
this is
Y'all
like
care-
a huge realization to me. I had no idea.
No one cares.
Yeah,
about
I know
that.
this like your childhood YouTube, and you're
I
like,
was
he has
I
a
was like
kid now.
waiting for it to happen. Like he was married and like it was already like years going by. I'm like, is he gonna have a kid?
Chris-
Like I didn't know the
Chris
situation
is-
there. And then it happened.
It's just
You sound
hard
like
to
a
be a
greedy,
full-time
like,
YouTuber
grandparent.
when.
Do you guys remember
it's hard to have
Stampy
a, be a,
Longhead?
Doesn't he make
Yeah.
Animal Crossing videos now?
I don't
He-
know. I
he-
never watched him.
He does both Minecraft and I think he's slowed down on Minecraft, but he still posts. Can you imagine what it's like raising a whole generation?
Oh,
I
I've seen this
never
before.
watched him. I thought he
I
was
watched
cringy.
him. I watched him a good bit, and I thought that his channel was like phenomenal. Like, this was the person I wanted to be. I wanted
Didn't
to be.
someone like come out and say that he cheated on his Survivor
Yeah,
World?
something like that.
I
But who even cares, to be honest?
There's
That world
no.
was.
I think-
Everyone wanted that world, dude.
I think the biggest thing, like the controversy that I heard about Stampy, was the whole thing where people were like, "Oh, he's 21," and Squishy because they were dating at one point, right?
I have no idea.
No idea.
They were like, Squishy's 18, and I was like 10 and had no idea, or like 8, had no idea what was happening, and everyone was like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's like a 3-year age gap, and she's 18, so it doesn't matter. And that was the end of the controversy.
What happened to whatever happened to EvanTube? I watched EvanTube when I was younger.
I don't remember Evan
Did
2.
anyone? Did anyone else watch Evan 2?
No.
No, I did
No,
not.
I
Hey, guys,
did.
off topic. I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. Shoot.
If the Death Star was not a machine, would it be a star or a moon?
It would be a
Um,
satellite.
Um,
So I guess a moon.
If it wasn't a machine,
Well, satellites are literally any like object in space.
Well, it's Yeah, they
Yeah.
have to be rotating around something, or be like that's the definition of
Yeah,
a
it has to be
satellite.
orbiting.
Yeah, it has
Pretty
to
sure it
be-
has to be orbiting.
has to be orbiting something to be considered a satellite.
And
It's
there's
not
like
like satellite
So
mean.
it would be a moon most
even
likely.
at that there's a criteria for being a planet. So
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
Pluto's
yeah.
not a
like
planet.
what would it be if it wasn't a machine? Like what would it wouldn't be metal, so what would it be?
Space junk.
Just space
Yeah,
junk?
I was gonna say only possible
in
explanation.
The Force Awakens. I forget what it was called, but the bigger Death Star, what was it called?
Still space junk.
Okay,
The
the
space
Star
moon.
Killer base.
yeah, Star Killer Base. It was shown that the Death Star was the size of a moon or like a dwarf planet.
Isn't
But
that why they said is that a moon?
Yeah, that too. But the Killer Base was like a planet, and they showed a comparison to, and even said that it was the size of a moon, but this is the size of like a couple of planets.
Well, size and actuality are totally different. The size can be
I know,
the moon, but if it's floating space junk, then it's a satellite.
And the orbit.
No, a satellite has to be in orbit.
It has to be to define. Yeah.
So is it just sitting out
Yeah.
there?
Like
I thought it was.
no,
I
like
thought, I thought
if-
no
wait,
satellite. Okay, so
If it's
well, think about it like this: with satellite countries, they're
yeah.
you know.
If it's orbiting something, then it would be a satellite. But if it's just sitting there, it's just like space debris.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
so-
like a
and then-
meteor,
yeah. That's what a satellite means. So it just has to be like space on in orbit.
Yeah.
So
I feel like
Yeah.
I failed our science teacher because I just forgot the difference between a meteor, a
Yeah.
meteorite, and a meteoroid.
oh, I have no idea. I don't
Couldn't tell
know.
you
I
if I
don't.
wanted to. I know one of them, like
flying
it changes
rock.
whenever it hits the ground.
And
Wait,
where
It's a
it is-
meteorite is when the one that hits the ground because you ask your friend if they're all right.
Oh my god.
What?
That is the cheesiest way to remember.
What
Yeah,
the
I
heck?
mean it works though.
It does.
That's the one thing I remember from like when they taught that. Oh my goodness.
That is the no. No.
What,
It was brilliant because I remember it.
what was your
No.
science teacher's name?
Don't say the science teacher.
You're not tricking me.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I'm not slipping up. Unlike you two. I know how- I know how much of a pain in the butt it is
Okay,
to
we
edit
just
through
we,
long
okay,
clips.
Just for a reminder, we just crossed over an hour and 26 minutes.
I
We might wanna end it here.
Yeah.
We only have like
About
180.
30.
I,
We
Wait,
have-
it's only gonna be
we-
an hour long. The footage that we get rid of.
I say we end it.
Yeah. Okay. So
Who wants to do the outro?
Dr. Seuss didn't like kids.
Right.
yeah.
The
I'll-
outro should
Do
be.
you know H.P.
Right.
Lovecraft's
Yeah,
cat
okay.
was a racial slur?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. To be honest with you, I'm not surprised.
He was incredibly racist.
Yeah.
He call it what do you call it? It was like N words.
It was just N-word cat.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was just his cat's name.
Mhm.
Wow.
Just like I feel like
That's-
that's a great way to
that's
top
awesome.
off like how we've evolved, like in acceptance of certain things.
Wow. Really?
But-
I had no idea. You think you'd? I had no idea he was a huge racist.
I found
Oh,
out watching.
okay, he was
movie
not-
of the
Were we
co-
just about to end it and we cut into this?
Shh, I love these like topics, but H.P. Lovecraft was not what most people was not a common racist because he was pure blood British, okay? So you have to take that into mind when he would be racial towards racist towards other people. It wasn't just African Americans. It was anyone that was not pure blood and or minorities because that was just how things were at the time, to the point where anyone could be like a victim of his racism.
Mhm.
Wow, I had no idea.
Like I am completely white. I'll put that out there. But I am a mix between Irish and Scottish, and I could have been a victim of him.
Wait, who?
H.P.
Uh,
Lovecraft, the
Uh,
horror writer.
he made
You know
like
Call of Cthulhu?
yeah, Call of
Yes, the person that wrote that.
Cthulhu.
Yeah.
He made you know the movie Color of Outer Space,
I don't think it's called that, is it?
or it's Color of Space. He wrote the book of that.
Yeah, it's about a color that is beyond human comprehension because he was
Wait,
a
I
weird
haven't.
one.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you breathe in space? Like, can you like breathe in space?
Wait, what do you
it would
mean?
Probably
create
not.
Oh
air
my god.
It would create like air cavities. I mean, gap cavities like in the bloodstream. I would
Because like,
assume.
there's nothing to breathe
But you're not
in.
taking anything in.
Wait,
But-
what's the
but,
question? Hold on, I'm
Okay,
confused
okay.
about the
So
wording.
let's say I take my helmet off in space and I breathe in. There's nothing to breathe in. So what
There's
happens?
nothing to breathe.
Well,
Nothing
well,
you can't.
well,
You
there's-
physically can't. If you're underwater, you're gonna inhale like.
But you can.
It's
But
not gonna
at least you
happen.
can suck
You're
in
still
water.
gonna inhale something.
No, you can't.
So like, yes, you
What
can.
would it feel like?
You've never
Alright, well, you
swallowed
know,
water. Like,
let's-
no, you have
no,
to
that's
fight
what I'm
your
saying. There's nothing in space.
Then what is
There's-
it? Then what are you doing?
So what if you like tried to suck
You-
down air?
you
Would you just be
physically-
like?
You can't. You'll like. I don't know. Okay, I've never been to space.
That's rough, buddy.
Okay, that's a
you
wonderful.
sound like one of the,
That's a wonderful
sound
place
like
to end.
yeah. All right.
We'll leave
I-
everybody with the question: what happens when you breathe in when you take your helmet off in space?
I say
You should leave your answers in our subreddit.
Yeah, we have
Nah,
a
I
subreddit. That's kind of cool.
The second
say-
shameless plug.
All right, I
Uh,
will. I will. Thank you,
outro.
everyone. Oh my God! Just shut up, Daniel, please.
Okay, so there's no straight answer. But something says
No,
Why
Ben,
is it
don't you
everything
dare! Don't you
fair?
dare
We're
answer
Yeah.
this!
not getting back into
Okay,
this. We're
I'm
done
muting.
with
Don't you
this
dare
podcast.
answer this.
No, I know it's not for the podcast. It's not for the podcast.
Everyone mute.
I'm just telling you what the thing said.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the first of the many, hopefully to come, podcast episodes. Like I said, my name's Ray. Thank you all for stopping by, and have a wonderful rest of your week or weekend, whenever it is.
That's why I treat these hoes the way I treat them. Yeah.